Okay, this is Garrett, and I am going to walk you through the subscription updater component that I would like created. And in order to do that, I'm going to walk you through the two major components that have to work together in order for that to happen. So that is the UThemes Zoo component, which is a content creation kit, kind of like K2, but a lot more robust. And then you have Pay Plans, which is the Stack Ideas subscription system. So there's an integration that's been created between these two by Pay Plans. And so I'm going to be going over basically how to use Zoo and Pay Plans, and that is just some general information for you. You may or may not be using this, but just so you have an idea of how those two components work. And then I'm going to dig into more of the we'll look at some of the database tables that you'll be working with. So if you go over here to Zoo, click on Zoo under the Components menu, you're going to see up here all these tabs are applications, and each of these, it lists a bunch of items. So these in here are items. These up here are applications. So if you click on this little gearbox over here, this is the how these applications are set up. All of these applications are the movie database. If you click on that, it's not really a movie database. I just went through and changed a bunch of stuff. So over here on the left-hand side are types, okay? You can create new types, and under each type is the elements associated with that type. So if we go here to course and we go edit elements, then you can see here on the left-hand side are all of the elements associated with this type. Here's the elements library. So if you wanted to create a new element, like an email, a date, a checkbox, a radio button, select, you can select any of these, let's say a checkbox. Then you can put in the name, and it gives you some options here. So each one of these types has a bunch of elements. The important thing to note here, you can see right here, select plans. This is the Pay Plans integration of Zoo and the Zoo extension. So if you take a look here and look through this list, these are all of the plans that I have set up for in Pay Plans. They're exposed here. So you can have this checkbox, and if you click here, then this checkbox will only be exposed. It'll only be shown to people who have subscribed to this plan right here. Okay. Or you can set this up so that let's deselect this, and then we'll say enable plan selection and say yes right there. That means that the selection won't be made at this element level. It'll be made at the item level. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So that means when you create a new item where you're filling in all of this information for each one of these fields, you have the ability to select which plan that this particular element is going to be exposed to. Okay. So that is the type and the elements. So let's close that. Here are the template layouts. So these layouts, you get to select all the different elements and put them together in different templates. So under here for course, if I go to full, under the UniKit 3, UI Kit 3, you can see where I have put together different sections here. And in those sections, I have put different elements to be exposed on that main page. So this is essentially the code for that. So you can see here for header right here. That's this guy right here, header. It's doing a PHP call for everything within that position. And then, preview is right here, purchase, lead, social, which all are associated with here. So this site has like the custom PHP put together for this layout, and then it's the elements are put into these different positions. Okay, so these are positions, and these are the elements, and this whole thing is a template. So if I were to, let's say, go to the front end of the website and take a look at what that looks like, I'm going to go over here to courses and color workflow for VFX artists. This right here that we're seeing is all contained within that template. Okay, so this is all in that template. So that's what this this code is, as it's being rendered, is rendering this. Okay, and if I were to go to Zoo, and I were to go to this application, COR, and I were to go to course, then I'd see color workflow for VFX artists. So this right here is the item and all the fields associated with this page right here. Okay, so so like here is a text box with this description, and that's right here, this text box with the description. So you enter it here, or put the image in there, or whatever, then it will be exposed here on the front end. Okay, so that's how the content creation kit works. One of the things, if I go over here to File, F-I-L, then, and I click on just one of these here, then there is a Amazon S3 integration into this specific element, which allows people to download things. So right here, there's this button that says Show Plans. So you click on that, and you get to select different plans here. So this is really what I'm concerned about integrating into this component, is to manage this right here. Okay, so I can select and I can say I want this to only show. I want it to show when either one of these plans is subscribed, that they can download this file. So if we went to the front end of this site, it also is the case for other things. Let's see. Let me just go to one of these here. Okay, so it says this video is locked. Okay. If I log in here, okay, so Phil, a test user, he has, now that he's logged in, it replaces the video with something else. Okay, so that's how the subscription system works. If I log out, it's going to go back here to that. So let's just really quickly, so let's go over to pay plans now. And under pay plans, of course, this is the new version of pay plans. If you go to orders and subscriptions, and I'm just going to create a new one here for Phil. Okay, and he's going to be subscribed to this Warzone DMP All Scenes. Let's go save. Oh, except we need to change the status here to active. Okay, so that's active. Now he has a new subscription. So let's go over here. I'm going to go to sequences, Warzone, DMP. Okay, And I'm going to go over to one of these shots here. Okay. And then right here, footage. Okay. So right here, you can see all these files are not showing up here. Okay. Because I haven't logged in as Phil. So if I log in as Phil again, once I've logged in and it shows that I have an active subscription, now when I click on those things, this guy here, the lens distortion, I can now download this file. So that link is exposed right there. Okay, so that's what this integration for files. And so that's under FIL, all the files under this application right here. And it's this field right here, files. And pay plans, you can select what plans those are shown for. Okay, so now that you have a basic idea of that and of pay plans and the integration between the two, so let me just go over how it looks in the database. So here I am, I'm using SQL Pro. So this is the database that I have here. So if you go all the way down to the bottom, you're going to see zoo item right here, okay? And if I do just a quick filtered search here, okay, I'm going to just put in here the type as files. Okay, so this is showing me the type of only the files. Okay, so each one of these lines is an item. Okay, and if I hadn't made that clear, each one of these rows is an item. And if I wanted to create a new item, okay, for file, if I want to create a new file item, I'd go over here to files, right? And this would be the empty field. So this is the item, right? So every one of these pages with the information filled out is one of these rows right here, okay? Every zoo item has an ID number, okay? They're all unique. And then you have application ID. So the application ID is each one of these. So let's close out of this. So this CMP, CORL, DMP, EFX, each one of these is an application ID. And they all have their unique ID. Okay, so this one here just so happens to be the FIL or the file application is number 6. So that's the application ID. So it has a name, alias, and all this other information. There's a bunch of information, and then there's a ton right here in the elements section right here. But we don't really need to concern ourselves with that. It's mostly for this component, it's just the ID, application ID, type, name, and alias, okay? So it's these 4 columns that we're concerned about, okay? So let's take a look. This one right here, CY1, it has an ID of 1264, okay? So this table right here, zoo_item, is where all of these are stored. So let's head up to another table, which is right here for pay plans. So pay plans _ zoo item element. If you click on that, and then if we find this, I think that was the number, 1264, okay? So this has an item ID, and this is the params. So this is where the information gets stored about this item. So 1264 and the zoo item, and if we should do 1264, okay? So this item right here is the same as we have here in the pay plans. Did I just skip it? This zoo item element right here, 1264, okay, is right here. So this connection is being made, and so if this item ID and the zoo item ID are sharing the same number, then it's making a connection between these two tables, okay? And then right here in the params is where this information right here is telling it the subscription status of that element. So this right here, that big long number right there is actually this position or this element, okay? That's the name of this element right here, is this guy right here. And then it's saying that it's going to, for the plans, it's going to be for 6 and 7 of plans, and the action is to show. So this shows for 6 and 7. So, but this, it doesn't really matter, okay? Because this right here is you're just going to be copying this information, okay? So I hope that makes sense. That the connection between these, the two connections between the two tables, is the item ID and the item, or the ID, excuse me. The ID and the item ID are the same, and then this is telling you the subscription status of that item or of that element. Excuse me. Okay. So now that you see the connection between these two in the in this here, the description that I have here, I have this idea that there is, and all of this is in the documentation here, but the first one that I have here is this kind of parent subscription, that what's going to happen is essentially this, okay? So and I'm going to walk you through kind of what the application is going to do, but you'll see me do it manually, okay? So I'm going to go over here to zoo item, okay? And right here, I'm going to close this. There's an application called Sub, okay? And this is AL1 DMP subscription. So I've been back and forth with Stack Ideas about how to implement some kind of mass bulk thing, and they can't do it within their system, and so that's why I'm creating having a component made. So if you look at this AL1 DMP subscription, okay, the item ID for this one is 3937. So if we go to this, and we're going to do 3137, okay? Oh, I had the wrong number for that. 3937. Okay. 3937. Okay, so I click that. Okay, so I can see that the item ID is here. This application ID is this. So essentially what I would need to happen, okay, and this is just, I'm walking you through the documentation here. This section 1, filtered search, okay? So it's going to have 3 different fields, okay, right? This is the beginning part here, this parent subscription item, where it has application ID, type, and alias. So essentially all I'm doing is having an automated way of searching this. So if I clear this out and I go, so I go application ID, this is what the component would be doing. You'd say it's 11. Oh, excuse me, not 11. Type would be files, okay? The alias would be AL1, okay? And yeah, and the application ID is 11, okay? So I've successfully filtered with 3 fields, application ID, type, and alias, okay, which is reflected in the component dialog box, right? These 3 here, application ID, type, alias, click filter parent, and it gives you this information here, which is this right here, okay? So this is the action, right? which you can see the query here is I'm just filtering application type and alias, okay? And it gives me this. So now that I have this, I'm going to take this number right here, 3937, okay? And then I'm going to go up here to the pay plans zoo element, okay? And I'm going to do a search 3937. Is that the one? Yeah. So that's it right here. So now I found the subscription status of this one item, okay? And this sub DMP subscription, this is what I'm calling the parent item, okay? There's not a parent system or child system in Zoo. I'm just kind of creating one. I'm just saying that whatever subscription status this guy has is going to be propagated to others, okay? So now that I have this one found, this item ID, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, copy, okay, I'm going to store this right there, okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the next part of what needs to happen, okay. So we've gone over this first section right here, and it's brought us this guy, okay. Now I'm storing the variable, which is the item ID, right? And then I do another a filtered search on the pay plans zoo item element, and it gives me this. So I copy this number, and that's what I've done so far, okay? And that, yeah, so I copy that. So on the next part of this, this component, if you go down here, it's this guy right here, child subscription items, okay? I do the same filtering that this does here, okay? So if I go up here, now I go back to the zoo items, zoo item, okay? And I'm gonna do another filtered search. The application this time is gonna be number 6, okay? The type is gonna be files, and the alias is gonna be AL1, okay? So now it brings up this huge list, as you can see, of all of these items. So now from the master one that I had before, I'm going to take this information here and paste it into all of these, okay? So let's just do a couple of these so you can see. So like I said, the component should be doing this all automatically, but I'm doing it manually so you can see how it works. 1568, okay? 1569. Okay, 1570. Okay, so I'm just going to do 3. The component would do all of them because all of these would come up under that search query, but I'm just going to do 3. Okay, so now I go over to the zoo pay plan zoo element, okay? And I'm going to do, let's go down and do a search. Our first one is 1568. So we have 1568 right here, okay? So now I have this item number right here. I click on this, okay? And I just copy this here, and I paste it into that spot. And I click OK. Now the subscription status for this first one here, 1568, has been updated to the master, okay? And then if I went to 1569, right here. So that's my next one, 1569. I go in here and I copy this and I paste it in there and I say correct, save, Okay, so so that's it in a nutshell. Is all I'm doing is I'm specifying that there is a parent subscription ID. I'm filtering it down based on these 3 different fields, which is going to give me 1 item. Okay. And then I'm going to get a larger list of child subscription items. Okay. And then if I press execute, then it's going to apply this 1 subscription params value and copy them into the appropriate table for all the child items. Okay, and you can see that happening. You can see that happening here in step 2. So so application ID files alias. Okay, it gives you this long list. You store the values, which is all of the IDs. So this is the result. All these IDs are stored. And then in this guy, you find all those item IDs, and then you paste what was saved from the master here, and you paste them in all of the param sections there. Okay. And the result is that it's pasted all of these. So the one caveat to this is that if they're like here, it says if the ID is not found, if the ID is found, then you just update the params column. If it's not found, then the component needs to create a new row. It needs to put in the item ID and then copy the params into those. Okay. So, and just to remind you, I'd like everything to be super clean and have the and commented throughout. And then I would like to, this is right here is the simpler option. You just put these in and you say execute all of the information, and it doesn't spit any values out to you. This here, like you see in the animation, would be the more complex version and have things spit out to you. I think this is great because if some error is being made in here, then it's going to tell you right here. So if you put in the wrong variables here and you say filter, it's going to not bring something up, or it's going to bring up more than 1 item, right? Because the parent subscription item, there should only be 1. If there's more than 1, then this should throw you an error when you try to execute, because the parent subscription item should only have 1, because there's this 1 params value. Okay, so if there's multiple ones, then there's a problem. So if you do child subscription eyes and you do filter, and you can see the name and alias, if it's bringing up the wrong things here, then you'll be able to see it, and you won't change the subscription status because you'll be able to see what it's filtering. So I would like to pursue this more complex version of that. Okay, so please read through everything, and I hope that's clear. And if you have any questions, just let me know.